You'll find the link to Decentralized Finance Beginner Handbook in the description and pinned in comments below. Most people think they lose money in crypto because they pick the wrong coin. That is not the real reason. The real reason is much more dangerous. They enter crypto with no roadmap, no rules, no exit plan. And that is exactly how a tiny mistake can quietly destroy years of savings. By the end of this video, you will understand the long-term investing roadmap that can help you build wealth without falling into the traps that wipe out beginners. In this video, I'm going to show you how long-term crypto investing actually works. I'll also show you why most beginners lose money before they even realize it. And I'll show you how to build a plan that does not depend on luck. You will learn how to think about crypto like an investor, not a gambler. You will learn how to avoid emotional mistakes that destroy returns. And you will learn how to build a roadmap that can survive bull markets, bear markets, and every panic cycle in between. Stay until the end because I will show you the one mindset shift that separates people who last in crypto from people who quit at the worst possible time. If you want simple crypto education without the confusing jargon, subscribe now. This channel is about helping beginners understand crypto the smart way. It is also about helping you avoid expensive mistakes and build confidence step by step. Here is the strange part. Most people do not lose money because crypto is impossible. They lose money because they treat it like a lottery ticket. They buy when excitement is high. They panic when prices fall. And they sell right before the market recovers. That cycle has destroyed more beginners than any scam ever could. Crypto is not a place to get rich quick unless you are extremely lucky. Long-term investing is different. It means you are not trying to guess the next 10 times coin in one night. You are trying to build exposure to assets you actually understand. You are also giving yourself a time horizon long enough to survive the chaos. Think of it like planting trees. A gambler wants fruit tomorrow. An investor wants a forest 5 years from now. That difference changes everything. And this is where people get hurt. Because every dip feels personal. Every crash feels like a mistake. Every rally makes them feel like they are missing out. That emotional pressure causes terrible decisions. But the investors who survive do not win because they predict perfectly. They win because they follow a system, and that system starts with the first rule almost nobody respects. Before you buy a single coin, you need a map. Without a map, every price move controls you. With a map, you control the decision. A real long term roadmap has five parts. First, decide why you are investing. Are you trying to preserve wealth, grow slowly, or take higher risk for higher upside? If you do not know the reason, you cannot choose the right strategy. Second, decide your time horizon. Crypto is brutal for people who want results in a week. It becomes more manageable when you think in years, not hours. Third, define your risk level. This is where beginners make their biggest mistake. They put too much money into something they do not understand. Then they panic when volatility shows up. Fourth, build a simple entry strategy. That can mean buying in stages instead of all at once. It can mean using fixed amounts. It can mean keeping cash ready for opportunity. Fifth, define your exit rules before emotion takes over. Because once the market is moving fast, your brain stops being rational. Most people do not fail from lack of information. They fail because they never decided in advance how to behave when fear shows up. And fear always shows up. But there is one part of the roadmap that can save beginners from some of the worst mistakes. And almost nobody tells about it properly. Now let's talk about the part people usually ignore until it is too late. Risk in crypto is not just price drops. It is much bigger than that. There are five major risks every beginner needs to understand. First, market volatility. Crypto can move faster than most people can emotionally handle. Second, project risk. Not every coin has real utility, strong development, or a long future. Third, liquidity risk. Some assets look attractive until you try to sell them and realize nobody wants them. Fourth, custody risk. If you do not know how to secure your assets, you may lose them without the market even moving. Fifth, emotional risk. This one is the killer. A lot of people do not lose because of a bad asset. They lose because they cannot stay calm. Imagine buying something, watching it drop 30%, and then convincing yourself you have ruined your future. That emotional spiral can make you sell at the exact worst moment. And that is how small mistakes become expensive lessons. So the question becomes, how do you reduce those risks without killing your upside? That is where the next part changes everything. The best investors do not try to time everything perfectly. They build a process that protects them from their own emotions. One of the most beginner friendly approaches is staging your entries. Instead of putting all your money in at once, you spread it out over time. That way, if prices move against you, you are not destroyed by one bad decision. This does not guarantee profits, but it lowers the chance of catastrophic regret. Another smart move is to separate your money into categories. One part can be for long term conviction, another part can be held in reserve for opportunities, and another part can stay completely untouched for emergencies. That last one matters more than people think. Because if you invest money you might need soon, every dip becomes a crisis. A plan is powerful because it removes panic. And in crypto, panic is expensive. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most beginners obsess over finding the next coin. But the real difference between success and failure in is usually not the coin. It is the behavior. You can have a decent asset and still lose money. Why? Because you bought too much, sold too fast, got scared too early, or ignored your plan. Meanwhile, someone else with a simpler strategy may outperform you just by staying consistent. That is why long term investing is less about genius and more about discipline. You do not need to be the smartest person in crypto. You need to survive long enough to benefit from compounding cycle shifts and patience. That changes everything because it means your biggest advantage is not prediction, it is staying in the game. If you were building wealth slowly, what would a smart portfolio actually look like? Not a fantasy portfolio, a real one. A long term crypto portfolio should usually be built with balance in mind. Same assets may be lower risk relative to the rest of the market. Some may carry higher upside but also higher uncertainty. The key is not to fall in love with any one coin just because it is popular. A portfolio is not a personality test, it is a tool. You want assets that fit your goals, your time frame, and your ability to handle volatility. You also want concentration without recklessness. Too much fragmentation can make the portfolio meaningless. Too much concentration can make one mistake devastating. The art is finding the middle. This is where beginners finally stop asking, "What should I buy?" They start asking, "How do I build something I can actually hold through a full cycle?" That question is how serious investors think. But even the right portfolio can fall apart if you ignore the one thing that destroys most long term plans. And that thing is emotional timing. Crypto does not just test your knowledge, it tests your nerves. The hardest part for most investors is not buying, it is holding when everyone is afraid. And it is not selling, it is not getting greedy when everything is going up. That is why many people buy near excitement and sell near fear. They let the market control their emotions. A long term roadmap helps you avoid that trap. It gives you rules before the noise begins. It reminds you that bull markets make people arrogant and bear markets make people hopeless. Both are dangerous. If you can stay steady while other people lose their minds, you gain one of the rarest advantages in investing. You gain patience. And now we need to talk about the exact mindset shift that turns a beginner into someone who can actually last. Here it is. The biggest mindset shift in long term crypto investing is this: you stop trying to win every day, you start trying to survive every season. That sounds simple, but it changes everything. When you think daily, you become obsessed with noise. When you think in seasons, you focus on process. That means accepting that volatility is normal. That means understanding that bad weeks do not define a good strategy. And that means knowing that your job is not to predict every move. Your job is to stay disciplined enough to benefit from time. This is where wealth accumulation starts to become real. Not because you found a secret coin, because you built a repeatable decision making system. And once you stop reacting to every candle, you finally get back the one thing the market keeps stealing from beginners: peace. So let's bring it all together. And a long-term investing roadmap for crypto is not complicated. It is just hard to follow when emotions are loud. First, define why you are investing. Second, define your time horizon. Third, understand the risks. Fourth, build an entry plan that removes panic. Fifth, create a portfolio that matches your goals. Sixth, follow rules when market gets emotional. Seventh, think in seasons, not moments. That is the roadmap, and it works because it protects you from the mistakes that wipe out beginners. It does not promise instant wealth. It gives you something far more valuable, a chance to stay consistent long enough for compounding cycles and patience to work in your favor. That is how wealth is often built. Not with a dramatic win, but with a series of smart choices that become powerful over time. If this video helped you understand crypto more clearly, subscribe for more beginner friendly videos that break down investing, risk, and strategy without the confusion. This channel is for people who want to learn the right way. It is also for people who want to avoid expensive mistakes and build real confidence over time. And before you make your next move in crypto, watch the next video where we teach emotional discipline and mindset mastery. Because once you understand the roadmap, the next battle is not the market, it is you.